Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io.
I'm playing with new music, so you guys are going to have to help me vote and let me know what you think of some of these different tunes. All right, let's try something else here.
Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io.
That's fun. I kind of like that.
Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io.
All right, welcome to day one of the Go Live Challenge. Yay! All right, I'm so excited. I hope you are too. Before we even jump in, does everyone have the workbook? Do you have the workbook? It looks like this. Let me show you a copy. Looks like this. Got this little boy with the light bulb thing on top of his head. If you can get it easily and still listen to me, go and grab it. The link to download it is in the description above this video. You can also find it in the Facebook group. It's pinned in the featured section. And if you were registered for the Go Live Challenge, you have it in your email as well, okay? If you're watching this on replay, I would encourage you to pause this video, go get the workbook and come back. For those of you that are with me live, if it's gonna be like a whole big thing to go and get this printed, do not worry about it. I'd rather you stay with me and be present with me, and you can get the workbook afterwards. If you can just grab some blank piece of paper, you will be in business. All right, sound good? I did see a couple questions in that opening as we were going through music. I promise you we will answer questions at the end. So if you've got them on anything, ask them. That's what this is all about, okay? So a little bit about me. For those of you that are brand new to me, you met me by finding this Go Live Challenge. My name is Jamie Hain. I am a video and growth coach, and I can share that the very first time I ever went live, it was awful. It was a train wreck. I was a hot mess. So bad that I went and hid in my bed for 2 hours, worrying and obsessing and panicking about all the bad, terrible things that were happening. And at the point where I finally creeped out and like faced the music, so to speak, like none of it had happened. I had wasted all of that time hiding. And I finally said to myself, that's it, no more. I'm going to get really flippin' good at doing live, and I'm never going to feel like that again. And that sort of transitioned into me pivoting my entire business into helping people do the same thing. That's why I exist. That's why I'm here. And that's why you are now part of my world. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you. All right. So before we just jump into today's training, I want to go backwards. And I want to get into just a teeny tiny bit of how this is going to work this week. So if you watched, there was a kickoff call last week, Thursday. I hope you watched it. If you didn't and you want the link to it, just comment below and say kickoff and I will get it to you. But I want to at least give you like a couple of, I don't know, maybe a minute or so of just recapping here, okay? And it's more so that I make sure that we are all on the same page and we know how this whole thing is going to work, okay? So this week, you are going to learn a 3-step model that is going to help you get started going live. It also, for those of you that are like, I go live already, I don't need help going live, it's going to help you frame up what you talk about. So if you are going live now and you just kind of go all over the place and you're kind of flying by the seat of your pants, maybe your videos aren't connecting, maybe they're not converting, maybe people aren't engaging. This is the core framework. This is what gets you started doing it in the right way, okay? So that model is hook, story, call to action. Okay, the gist behind it is that the hook is what grabs attention and makes your viewers want to watch your video in the first place. The story that you tell is the engaging part. It's the part that helps them keep watching your video because they want to stay and they want to learn from you. They want to hear this. And then your call to action is the part where they take a step. They take the next step that you want them to take. And we're going to plan all of these bits and pieces this week together. That is the really cool part, okay? So every day this week, you're going to learn a little piece. You're going to learn a piece of this model, and you are going to be planning one video that you're going to do at the end of this week in this group, in this community where it's super safe and everybody's here just to support you, okay? That's the plan. If you've got questions on how this is going to work, like I said, that kickoff call is going to be important, or I'll stay on after this little training. If you got questions or need help with anything, that's what I'm here for, okay? So today we are going to start at the end because I am a big believer that you plan knowing where you're going. Where is your target? Where's your focus? You plan from there and then you work yourself backwards. So even though it's hook, story, call to action, we're going to talk about story and call to action first, and then we're going to come around and build the hook. And that'll make sense tomorrow when we get into hooks, okay? Everybody with me? Everybody ready to go? Give me some comments that say, woohoo, or I'm ready, let's do this, something like that. Okay, the goal here, first of all, let's do this, is that you were to pick a topic that you are going to use to guide you this week through planning this video. And what I asked you to do is think about a tip that you can share with your audience. What's important here is I don't want you to overthink this. Don't let this be the reason you don't move forward. I'm going to give you some examples that'll help make this super easy, but hopefully you've already got a little idea of something going on here. All right? Okay. Now, I promised that the first 5, it's going to probably be 10. First 5 or 10 minutes of this video is going to be the most important part, and that starts right now. That 5 or 10 minutes is kicking off right now. All right. So the first thing that you are going to do, I wanted to start my, hold on, I'm going to start my otter. Hold on. Let me make sure he's going. I want, for those of you that are registered, you're going to get a transcript of this as well. Okay, it's going. So number one is to figure out the topic of your video. In this case, because we're planning it this week, it is a tip. I'm giving you a little advantage here. I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. You are going to share a tip with your audience in your niche. Don't overthink it. Doesn't matter. It is more the thing that you're going to focus on so that you can learn the model this week. Okay. So for an example, I lost my mouse here. Where's my example? For example, I'm going to assume today that I am a professional chef and that I am going to help you elevate your grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And we're going to do that by using mayo instead of butter on the bread. Ooh, that's my tip. That's how small this needs to be. Do not overthink it. Okay. So in your workbook, step number 1 is what is the tip you're going to share? Write that down. Okay. Then number 2 is to focus on what is it that your audience is going to get or learn from this video? Why should they watch? This doesn't have to be learn. It can be get, understand, shift, whatever verb you want to use in there. But the whole point here is what do they get? Okay. So in this case, again, we're still on this grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. They're going to learn why they should use mayo instead of butter. What is that going to do to elevate the sandwich? How it's going to make it, oh my gosh, so much more yummy and delicious. And then how to actually do it. That's what I'm going to share in my video. That's what they're going to get or learn how to do. You're going to do this with your tip. Okay. Then number 3 is to figure out the 2 or 3 points that you're going to cover in this video. Now, for this Go Live challenge, your video is only going to be 3 minutes long. So you don't have a whole lot of time to go into a whole lot of stuff. We're just focusing on down and dirty. So what are the 2 or 3 tips that you can share in order to achieve what we're talking about here? So in this case, it's super easy because I kind of did some of it already. They're going to learn why. Why should they put mayo instead of butter? They're going to learn the result that that's going to achieve. And then they're going to learn how to do it. This is what you are going to do to kickstart yours. What is the tip I'm going to give? What are they going to get? And then what are my 2 or 3 bullet points? Okay. Any questions on this before we move into step number 4? Type them in the comments. That's what I'm here for. Okay. Let me just check. I'm checking comments here. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Everybody's ready to go. I love it. I'm loving it. I'm loving seeing all these faces. Look at this. This is awesome. Okay. Okay, you're seeing the comments about the PB&J. These are from folks that have been in my world for a while. I talk about this a lot. I use this as an example a lot because it's super easy. So, and who doesn't like peanut butter and jelly? I mean, come on. Okay. All right, I'm not seeing any questions, so we're going to move on. Okay. Next, you are going to pick the story you are going to tell in this video. The story you are going to tell. Now, let's talk about that a little bit. This whole idea of POW bubbles, you have this in your workbook. We did a whole video on it not too long ago. If you want that whole video, just in the comments type POW bubbles video and I will get you the whole thing. But I'm going to give you an abbreviated version today, okay? But before we jump into that, I want to know from you, why tell a story? Why do you think it's important to tell a story in your live video? Drop some comments. I want to see what you think. Here's the thing that I want you to kind of think about. Why do you like stories? Why do you watch a certain TV show? Why do you like certain movies? Why do you read certain books? Why do you listen to certain podcasts? My guess is they are filled with stories. So what is it about the story that is compelling and would make you then tell a story inside of your live? Let's see what you guys come up with here. You guys are excited about POW bubbles. I love it. Love it. Okay, there's no blanking already. You're good. We're gonna stay on after this. I'm gonna help you. So I don't want you to worry about if you're blanking on this. Don't worry about it. My guess is if you're blanking, you're overthinking. What is a teeny tiny itty bitty tip that you can give me that is in your niche? Okay. I'm a personal chef in this situation. I could talk about all sorts of things. I could talk about pots and pans and food ingredients and cooking utensils and all of that. And what am I picking? Teeny tiny little piece. Use mayo instead of butter. Figure that out for your little piece. Okay. All right. So what I'm seeing on the stories is Diane says connection. Okay. Carol says it will engage. Sandy says no trust factors. Carol says they will relate. Let's see here. Sharon says stories can be remembered. Jackie says people relate to stories. Josette says it's important to tell a story to get people to connect with me. You're getting it. We can relate, says Lucy. We like to read and be inspired, says Catherine. Debbie says you guys are getting it. I don't see anything new or different here. Okay, you got this. All right. The whole gist around sharing a story is that stories entertain us. And as a result, remember, the story part is to keep people watching. So if you can tell stories, you're going to keep people watching longer. It also, you guys got this, there's a connection point, not only with you, because now we share this thing in common, but to the content. Sometimes stories help us understand something that's new and we're learning for the first time because we can relate it to something that we're familiar with. The other thing that stories allow us to do is remember this lesson. So here's the funny thing. Here's what's going to be funny. From now until the end of time, every time you think of peanut butter and jelly, or you're making peanut butter and jelly, you're going to think of me. And when you think of me, you're going to think about this Go Life Challenge, and you're going to think about stories. It is a memory tool, and that's why you want to use memory or stories to help your people remember the point. Okay, so what you're going to do is you are going to, let me get rid of this guy. You are going to do pow bubbles, okay? In the middle is your tip. I'm going to share a tip on mayo, peanut butter, and jelly, and you're going to pow, 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 pow around it. These are ideas of stories you can tell about this tip, okay? Let me give you some examples. Feel free to drop your own in comments as we go. Okay, I could tell the story about my first time, right? In particular, this was Grandma. Grandma taught me how to do mayo on grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. There's a story there, okay? I could tell the story about the first time that I made it. Maybe the first time I made it for the kiddos, what their reaction was, what their response was. That's another story I can tell. Okay, another example might be this time I did a taste test. Taste test with the hubs. I made one with butter, one with mayo, and we waited to see what kind of how he would respond. Which one would he like better? Okay. Let's see here. What are some other ideas we could do? Maybe it's the first time. Maybe it's a client story. Client success story. See how that works. Okay. Once you have brainstormed different story ideas, the next step is to pick one. Let's go here. All right. You're going to pick which story you're going to tell. Now, for those of you that are classic overthinkers, it doesn't matter. Pick whichever one. Pick which one resonates most with you. Pick which one you think is going to resonate most with your audience. But here's what I want you to see. Here is the power of the pow bubble. Any of these can become a video. You could use different stories in different videos. You could use different stories in different types of post formats. So maybe you're always talking about this tip, use mayo instead of butter, but when you do it as a post or as a blog or as an email, you use a different story. This is just about brainstorming ideas, and then you pick the one that you want. Again, don't overthink it, just pick one. Okay. Now, for those of you who are in VIP, for those of you that have upgraded to VIP, you have an extra video today. It was in your email that you got this morning on storytelling basics. I would really encourage you to watch this and all 4 of the extra videos you get as part of VIP so that you could ask me questions. Remember, you get access to me on Messenger. So if you've got questions, ask me. If you want to wait to watch these videos until the challenge is over, that's your choice. I'm just encouraging you to watch because I think the storytelling basics are going to help you with this week's video. All of these videos are 10 minutes or less, so they're super easy. You can get them done, okay? Okay, if you are not VIP and you're like, oh, wait a minute, maybe I want to do this, okay? VIP gets you those 4 extra videos. Whoops. I went too fast there. The storytelling basics, the Post-it note model, which is how you plan and deliver and make eye contact while you're using notes. You're going to learn one on camera angles. And then the last one you're going to learn is how do you connect random stories to your business? So like if today is, I don't even know, pumpkin pie day, how do you talk about pumpkin pie day and connect it into your business? Okay. Those are the 4 that you're going to get. You also get access to me in Messenger to ask questions. I'm going to watch your final video and give you feedback, and you get all of that for $27. I had somebody message me this morning and said, this is a no-brainer. Why doesn't everybody do this? Because some people may not see the value in that. I see the value in that, and I hope you do too. Okay. So if you are in VIP, definitely watch that first video today to start to think about the story that you're going to tell and how you're going to kind of craft that story. All right. Now, let's move on to your call to action. What is a call to action? If you've heard this term before, if you've used this term before, what is a call to action? Let me go to the comments and see what you all say here. Okay. Oh, I saw this, by the way, going back to stories. Lizelle says emotions, so important with that story. Yes, and it is so important as we start talking about call to action because we take action, we make decisions based on our emotions. We might verify or validate it with logic, but we want to do it because of emotion. That is going to be super important here as we start talking about this. Okay. Oh gosh, you guys are putting some really good stuff in here. I love it. Okay. So what is a call to action? A call to action is the next step you want your audience to take. What is the next thing they're going to do? What is the action you want them to take? Okay. So let's look at this in your workbook. You are going to brainstorm all the possible calls to action you could have with this video. What are all the different ideas that you have that you want them to take? So for example, I want them to make their next grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich with mayo instead of butter and let me know how it goes. That could be a call to action. Call to action could be take a photo of it and share it with me. Call to action. It could be comment PB&J if you're going to do this challenge and you're going to do this with me. That could be a call to action. Call to action could be if you want more great stuff like this, join my Facebook group. Call to action could be buy my cookbook and learn more of these kinds of tips and tricks. All of these are possible. But here is the most important part. You only get one call to action per video. Only one. Why do you think I only say one? What would be the reason behind that? Let's see what you guys are coming up with here. Okay, some of these are back from what is a call to action. Sandy says having them to decide to do something. Yes, it's about application. It's one thing to just watch and learn and listen. It's a whole other to take a step, okay? Asking the viewer to do something where you take them somewhere. Oh, I love that part. Taking them somewhere, taking them on a journey. Yes. Sharon says the same thing. Call to action is what I want the watcher to do next on their client journey. Love that. Love it. Okay. All right. So now to the question, why only one? You guys are saying overthinking. Yeah, they could overthink. If I give you a whole bunch of things to do, you don't know which one to do. And so you get paralyzed and you do nothing. Overthinking, overanalyzing, analysis paralysis, all of that. Carol says you can create confusion. Yes. Multiple choices leads to none. The law of diminishing returns. That's what that's called. If I give you more options, chances are you'll do none of them. The more options I give you, the less chance that you're going to do the one thing I want you to do. Sarah says it overwhelms. Amanda says confusion. Yes. You've got it. Okay. Now, what inevitably comes up here is people say, but Jamie, I want them to do all of those things. Yep, you do. Right? You want them to do all of these calls to action. But if I really have to hone in on the number one thing I want them to do, and I focus on that, if I only give you that one thing, more people are going to do that one thing. So pick the one that you want most. Doesn't have to be buy my cookbook. If my motivation behind this video is to engage or to connect, it may just be one of the other ones in that list, okay? So number 7 here is you are going to decide which of these you're going to do. So in this particular example, I'm going with a comment PB&J. The reason I want them to comment is that boosts the algorithm. The more engagement, the more comments you get on your video, then Facebook shows that video to more people. So if I say to you, I want you to make this peanut butter and jelly sandwich and let me know how it goes, or I want you to take a photo and share it, that's not going to happen right now. That's going to happen days from now, and then they may forget to come back and comment. So if I say comment PB&J, I'm going to get a whole bunch of PB&J comments, and that's what I want. All right. So, any questions about what you're doing here with picking a story and picking a call to action? I'm going to do a quick review. Let's talk a little bit about your homework because that is the 8th step today. What is the homework you're going to do? Okay. You are going to, first and foremost, you're going to pick what tip you're going to share. Don't overthink it. Just pick a tip. It's random. It honestly doesn't even matter because it's not about the tip. It's about having something to practice with as you go through this week. Okay. Then you're going to identify what are they going to learn? What are they going to get from watching this video? Next, what are the 2 or 3 points I'm going to give them? In order to make sure that I deliver on what it is they're going to learn, I got to say I'm going to talk about what? These 2 or 3 things. From there, I'm going to pick a story. What story am I going to tell? Use Pile Bubbles, pick one story. Then I'm going to decide my call to action. Everybody with me? Okay, basically, follow the workbook. Your homework today is to share 2 things. There's going to be a post, looks like this, in the Facebook group. It'll hit, I think it's this afternoon. I think it's like 1 o'clock, 1:30 my time, something like that. And it'll say, I want you to share the story and the call to action. All you got to do is go in there, find this post. It'll be pinned at the top of the group. Share the story and the call to action you're going to use this week in your video. Okay, what questions do you have? Let me make sure there's no questions here. And then I will stay on after this and I will answer as many questions. I will help as many people as I can in the next half hour, 40 minutes, something like that, okay? Just for a timing perspective, let me go through and talk about what's next, what we're going to do the rest of this week, and then I'll take your questions, okay? So obviously we're going to continue in this hook story call to action. Today is the story I'm going to tell and the call to action that I'm going to give. Tomorrow, we will talk about grabbing viewer attention. This is the hook part of hook story call to action. And then on day 3, we will get into how do you connect with your viewer. And I'll give you a hint. It is about eye contact, okay? And every day there is a new workbook that kind of guides you through as we go. So that's how it works. We're just going to repeat this each day. All right, now, after all of that, what questions do you have? And for those of you, if you've got to go, I tried to do this within time. I'm going to have to I didn't make my 5 minutes. I didn't even make 10 minutes. You're probably not surprised. But most of you are still here, so that's good. This is the learning portion, okay? This is all that there is to learn. But through questions, not only your questions, but the questions other people ask, who knows where we're going to go with this, okay? So let's see what questions we got here. Okay, let's stay focused first on the storytelling and the call to action. What questions do you have around that? And then we'll go into what questions do you have on anything else that comes up. Okay, so let's stay focused first. All right, let's see what you guys have here. Okay, Sharon says, hold on, let me read this first. Can't you only go live in a group? Why would a call to action be join the group? No, you can go live on your personal profile. You can go live on your business page. You can go live on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on TikTok. Any of those places you can go live on. Join my group is just one example. It could be follow me here, or that was just an example only. Okay, hopefully that helped. Okay. Lauren says, I go live on, you guys are answering her question. You guys are so great. Thanks for having my back there. I appreciate it. Okay. PJ says, have you explained how to go live on Facebook? What steps do I go to go live? Okay. There is one of the optional pre-work videos for this challenge is on how to go live. So there's a video on how to go live on your desktop, on your computer, and how to go live on your phone with step-by-step instructions that you can print out. So if you, it's been emailed out, it's in the guides, I've communicated it a couple times. If you can't find it, PJ, just message me and I'll get you the link. Okay. 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 I'm not seeing any other questions on stories or call to action. So let me just check in. That means you got it done. You know the tip. You've planned out what they're going to get. You've planned out the 2 or 3 points. You've picked your story. You've got your call to action. No questions. Nobody needs help. Nobody needs another example. You're all good to go? If you're good to go, just type good to go. And we'll move on to other questions that you all might have. if you've got questions, if you want some help, if you want to give me an example, that's what I'm here for. I'll help you. Okay? Don't be shy. Share, share, share. Okay, Lauren says, how do you decide your story? Okay. You're just brainstorming all the possible ideas. What possible story could you tell? One of the things that inevitably comes up here is somebody will say, and I'm not saying this is you, Lauren, but somebody will say, I don't have any stories. Let me get rid of this so we're not looking at that word there. I don't have any stories. I'm boring. I don't have anything. I don't have any good stories. Okay, let me just tell you this. There is a wonderful show that was on for years and years and years called Seinfeld. And it is a show about nothing. It is about nothing. It is about the most mundane, boring, horrible, crazy things that happen in our life. They're not over the top crazy. There's no super duper drama there. It's about why she didn't get soup at the counter. Okay? So stop telling yourself you're boring. It's not about being boring. It is likely that you have not finely tuned your brain to look for stories. So one of the things that I would recommend that you do is to start looking for stories. As things are happening in your life, start jotting them down. It doesn't have to be these big momentous things. It can be just little things that you go, that's pretty good there. Maybe the story has a lesson or a moral to it. Jot some of those down. The more you start looking for and recognizing that you have stories, the more you'll be able to find stories. Now, what I will say is here's kind of a quick thing for me. I think about whatever I'm looking for a story on, I think, okay, is there a story about how I learned this? Is there a story about the first time I used this or did this? Is there a story about the first time I helped a client do it or a friend do it or somebody in my family do it? Those are some great things to be thinking about to try and identify your stories. But the most important thing here with POW Bubbles is don't judge. Don't look at these and be like, oh, that's just stupid. Oh, I'm not going to do that. Because just thinking about that might help you. I can identify another story. Okay. It's almost like you can POW bubble off the POW bubble. Okay. So maybe it's not this, but maybe you can go, oh, wait, I could tell that story or I could tell that story. And any of those might be gold. You're not looking to tell a story that is going to win an Oscar. It's not about the story. The story is a tool that helps you make a point. The story is something that helps entertain and engage your audience, help them understand and connect. So sometimes it's helpful to say, okay, if this is the thing I'm trying to teach or share or give, is there a story in my life that will help people understand that, help people understand the result of that, help people understand the challenges that may be faced there? Hopefully that helps. If not, ask me another question. Okay. Okay. Oh, I love it. You guys are just pounding me in with questions. I love it so much. Okay. Okay. Catherine says, I have a hard time making it easy and fun. Okay. So a little bit of mindset stuff here, Catherine. Why are you telling yourself that it's hard? Why are you telling yourself that it's not easy, that it's not fun? Start thinking about how do you make it easy and fun. Everything doesn't have to be easy and fun. These stories don't have to be positive. They can be heartfelt. They can be stories of trauma. They can be stories of challenges that you had to overcome. Those can be just as effective. Think about the types of, again, TVs, movies that you watch. Sometimes the best shows and the best movies are ones where it's painful, not positive. So focus on that as well, okay? If you can give me a more specific example, Catherine, because I'm not quite sure what soul contract reading means, so I don't know that I can help you. But here's what I will say. I believe you upgraded to VIP. So message me after this and I'll help you with this. Give me some examples, give me some things you're thinking about, and I'll brainstorm with you. Okay? Okay. Okay, Lauren says, like, if you have multiple businesses. Okay, so if you've got, here's the most important thing that I want you to focus on here. Any individual live that you are doing should be focused on one piece of what you do. Just like that call to action, where you've got all these possible call to actions, what you want to make sure is that each thing is focused on one part of one business, one thing that you do. If you start to bring in all of these other pieces, you're going to overwhelm your audience and they're not going to be able to follow you. So what I want you to think about instead is, if I want to do multiple videos on multiple different businesses, those are separate videos, separate stories, separate call to actions. But the key is that within one video, I'm talking about one thing, one story, one call to action. Focus that. You'll get far more traction than trying to dump a whole bunch of stuff on there. Okay? Okay. Okay, Catherine says, are we just making it random fun things not related to my business? Okay, I would say that random fun things are actually more complex. They actually take more work to connect into your business. You're gonna get that as one of the extra videos this week as part of VIP. So no, I would say, remember, in this scenario, I know I'm talking about peanut butter and jelly and that's fun and easy, but I'm a personal chef in this situation. Let's do an example that's not peanut butter and jelly. Okay, so let's say I am let's do some pow bubbles here. I am who I am. I'm a video coach. And I want to do a video on, well, we're talking about stories. So let's put that at the center, okay? I want to do a video on storytelling. And maybe I want to do, my tip is going to be about what we just shared. What I answered somebody's question about, be looking for stories. Start tracking stories, start writing down stories, start being aware of stories, okay? So let's do this together. What are some possible stories I could tell? Okay. I could tell a story about my journey in thinking that I'm boring. I'm boring. I don't have any stories. I don't do anything. I could tell a story around that. Okay. Maybe I could tell about a time when, as soon as I started writing my stories down and having a story book, how that inspired me. Okay. So what would happen is I would write down stories, and if I was looking for a story, I'd go to my book and I would flip through it, and I might not pick out one of the stories that I wrote down, but I would get into this super creative space. Maybe that's a story I can tell. Maybe I could tell the story about where I'm most creative. Okay, I'm most creative when I'm on the treadmill or when I'm walking outside. There's something about that movement that helps me think of new stories. So I could tell that as a story. Okay, I could talk about how I helped a client. How I helped a client brainstorm stories. I could go on and on and on and on and on, thinking about all sorts of different ideas. These are very specific to this tip that I'm sharing in my video. Okay, hopefully that helps. Now, your question was about what if I want to do something fun and unrelated? I would tell you this. For the purposes of this challenge, I would not go there because it is a lot more work to tie those in, and I don't want you to get off track. I don't want you to get overwhelmed. I would say for this exercise, pick a story that is relevant to that topic. Okay. All right. Hopefully that helped. Seeing a different example. Okay. Okay, Lauren says, I am boring. No, you are not boring. None of you are boring. Okay, even the most boring stories can be effective. Remember, you're not trying to get your own sitcom here. You're not trying to audition for a TV show or get a book. That's not the objective. The objective is to use it as a tool to help your audience have that connection and understand something. Okay? Okay. Okay, Sharon says to confirm. Hook, story, steps for... okay, I see your question here. Okay, so she's saying, where do I put the story? So if it is hook, story, call to action, where does the story integrate with my steps and the tips that I'm sharing? So good that you asked that. Okay, so if I were doing something like this, okay, you're going to start with your hook. If it were me, I'd probably put my story next. And then I would do my steps, and then I would do my call to action. Because the goal for the story is to keep them listening, to make them want to get more of that. Okay? Now, if you're saying to me, okay, Jamie, but the story won't make sense until I've covered this topic. Okay, then. Where'd my eraser go? If that's the case, talk about number 1, tell your story, then cover 2 and 3. You can put your story wherever you want. The story could be after your 3 points. It could be at number 3. Doesn't matter. Put it where it makes the most sense. Okay? Those of you that are in VIP that you're going to get the Post-it note model, this is what's super fun about Post-it notes because you can move them around. You can say, I'm going to talk about this first. I'm going to talk about this. Nope, I don't like that. I'm going to switch that around. You're going to see a little bit of that in that extra video. Okay? All right. Okay, Danny says she's going to, the topic is frustration and the need to control everything. Oh my gosh, good topic. The tip is a breathing technique. Wonderful. Okay, so let's do some pow bubbles for Danny. Okay, so in the middle, this is breathing. Okay, and specifically, it is about frustration and control. Okay, so what are possible stories that Danny could tell? I'm afraid if I scroll too far through your other questions, then I'm going to get lost, but hopefully not. Okay. Okay. Let's do this. I'm just going to go with this for Danny, and then we'll scroll back through. Okay, so what's a story that you could tell? Go through that list I gave you earlier, okay? First time you learned it. I learned. Okay? Second one, first time I tried it. First time I had success. This could be the first time I failed. Didn't work at first. Okay? Another story could be a time that I helped a client with this. Other than a client, it could be I helped a family member. And then just run with it from there. That's what I usually do is my brain kind of starts with, okay, where did I learn this? Was there any like obstacle or challenge? Did I have success? Did I fail? Did I help somebody else with this? I kind of start there and then I just expand my mind and I just let ideas come. I kind of follow my intuition, if you will. Okay, but I usually start with that. Hopefully that helped Danny and hopefully that helped the rest of you too. Okay, Jackie says, how do you make the story fun and easy? Okay, I'm going to ask you the same question. Why does it have to be fun and easy? It doesn't have to be fun and easy. If you're in a niche that's not fun and easy, don't try that's like square peg round hole. It's not going to fit. If you're talking about serious stuff, like Danny's here talking about frustration and control, she's not going to want to necessarily tell a light story unless part of this success is sharing how wonderful she felt afterwards, how much this breathing helped and why it helped. Okay? If the fun and easy part is more about storytelling, that's something different, okay? Don't worry about storytelling. All I want you to do is tell a little story. There was this time that I did this and this happened and here's what I learned from it. That's the story you're going to tell. Don't overthink this. Okay. Okay, Simone says, what about if it's your first time going live? What are the tips for the first time going live? Okay, if this is about how to go live, that is that you've got videos and instruction sheets that walk you step by step. If this is about I'm nervous about going live for the first time, that's the second pre-work video that's out there and available for you that walks you through how do you put together a checklist so that you can start to manage your nerves and control some of that, okay? You're going to learn a couple of different techniques, but here's what I would tell you, okay? It's not going to get easier if you don't do it. The only way that it gets easier and more fun and more enjoyable, even if you're talking about hard subjects, is to do the thing. It's about practicing. It is about trying and seeing what works and what doesn't work for you, okay? So if you want to create your own Facebook group that you're the only member in, nobody else gets to go in there except for you, practice, practice, practice. The more you do it, the easier it's going to get, the more comfortable you're going to be. Okay, just learning this model, hook, story, call to action, and focusing on hook, story, call to action is going to make you feel more confident because you now know what you're supposed to do. You now know what you're supposed to say. Now just go and celebrate the fact that you did it. And each time you get a little bit better, the more you practice and the more you fine tune what works and what doesn't. But that course on managing your nerves is going to really make a difference. I promise. Okay. Okay, Zippy says, give another example. I think this was before, and I've done a couple of examples. Let me know if not, Okay. Okay, Stacy said this. I remember this moment. Stacy says the first time I went live, I shared an experience that I'd never shared before. It was so powerful, and it wasn't a fun topic. It was a game changer for you. It was like the biggest pivot ever when you just by sharing that story, and it was not fun and easy. It was a hard story that you shared. So thank you for sharing that. I love it. I love it. Okay. Okay, Catherine's saying the worst video we ever made, the time the power went out. Yeah, you're getting it. Don't judge. Don't judge yourself. Sometimes the worst idea that I have for a story makes me think of something else that I could talk about. It might not be exactly like that. It makes me pivot to something else. Okay. Okay, everybody's saying, yes, love it. This is helpful. So helpful. I'm good. I'm glad. Okay. Heather says, I went live the other day for the first time after following the instructions and what I have shared, and she survived. She thought she was going to pass out, and she didn't. Yep, you're not going to die. I have t-shirts that say, I went live and I didn't die. Okay? You can get it as a t-shirt, or you can get it as a tumbler. Celebrate the fact that you made it through. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, I love it. Okay. Catherine says, I have a hard time being short and sweet. Okay, so let's talk about that. Okay. What you are learning inside of this process is to have a plan, have a roadmap, okay? So I am going to start with my hook, cover my points, tell my story, call to action. Just having this plan is going to help you stay focused because you've mapped it out. You're not trying to think about it while you're live. I want you to take 5 minutes and plan this out before you go live. This will help you stay focused, okay? What will also help you stay focused, my nose is itching. Somebody's talking about me. Is having it right in front of you so that you can follow along and make sure you stay focused, okay? Now, I did a video on rambling and tangents not too long ago. If you want me to send you the link to that, just type that in the comments, just type tangents and I'll dig it up and send it to you. But here's what I would say. Sometimes those tangents or that rambling can be important. Sometimes that's our intuition guiding us and saying it's important to share this. But what's really important is that you don't get so distracted that it's taking you clear out of your way, right? You have an intention. That's why you're deciding up front, what is it that I want my viewers to get from this video? You got to make sure you give it to them. If you're taking all sorts of sideways steps, you're losing them. And they just came for this thing. They stayed for this. They want this, okay? So sometimes what you have to do in your mind is say, am I getting off topic? Sometimes I'll even say it out loud. You guys will see me say out loud, okay, wait a minute. Do I want to go here? Is this going to be a tangent? Yes, I want to go here because it's important. And I cover it short and sweet, and then I get back on track. I have a whole analogy in that other video about road trips. It's a really good one if you want to watch it. So tangents and rambling is not bad, but it does need to be controlled. And so having a path, a plan, will help you with that. Okay? Okay. Okay, several of you want that. All right, I will, if we have time here at the end, I'll even give you a sneak peek here, because what time is it? Yeah, we'll be on for another 10 or 15 minutes, so if there aren't a whole lot of other questions, I'll give it to you right now, too. Okay. There was another question earlier. Somebody had said, can't you just play music without the copyright thing? Nope, you cannot. If you are a business and you have downloaded music that you have paid for, it is for your personal use. You cannot just use that publicly. You have to pay for that. It's a licensing agreement, okay? There are lots of music providers out there that you can pay for, but just downloading a song does not give you the license to be able to use it in your business. It is for your personal use. Now, before anybody comes after me, is anybody going to come after you and sue you for using a song that you didn't license? Likely not, but I want you to think bigger. I want you to think that your business freaking explodes and you are now making millions of dollars. I want to make sure you know the right way now. And the right way is you have to license that music. You have to pay for that music, okay? So even like, there's all sorts of AI music. In fact, most of the music that I'm using here is AI created. Somebody still created that and posted it out there. And while they're saying you can use it, you still have to pay for that licensing. So as long as you stay paying for that membership in those music platforms, you're covered. If anybody were to come after you, if anybody were to sue you, you can say, nope, I'm paying for this membership. I'm paying for use of these songs for my business. That's how that works. Okay. Again, is somebody going to come after you and sue you? Likely not. But when you're making millions, you'd be surprised what people will do. Okay. Okay. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay. Okay. I know someone who had to take pictures of her website. I know someone who had to take pictures of her website. I'm not sure what that means, Sarah. So tell me more what that means. Okay, Debbie says, what if your audience is not interested in what you're talking about or doesn't show up? Okay, those are two very different things. Okay. Getting them to show up, let's talk about that first. The more juicy the topics are, and the more you promote and make sure that people know that you're talking about that subject, it takes some time. There needs to be a little bit of momentum. In fact, I will tell you this. The first few lives that you do, you're not going to have people show up. There's going to be nobody on the other end, and that's okay. Because right now you're learning, and maybe you're not at your best. So aren't you glad that there's not a whole lot of people there? I think sometimes we get in our head and we think, oh my gosh, what if 1 million people see this video? I wish. I wish it could go that fast, but it doesn't go that fast, okay? So what you have to realize is it is about being consistent. It is about consistently showing up on a regular basis and sharing good content. And if you start to do that, then people will start to show up. Okay? One of the, my tip today, was it today or tomorrow or yesterday? I can't remember, is about consistency. So here's where I would tell you to start. Pick a single day in the week and a single time and go live every week at that day and time. For me, it's every Thursday at 12 Mountain Time. I go live in my group every Thursday at 12 Mountain Time. I don't miss every Thursday. Okay? And when I first started doing that, nobody was on. But now, because I've been consistent with it and I show up and I give good value, I give good content, now I have people that regularly show up and they're there live or they watch the replay if they can't. I've got a lot of people who follow me from Australia or New Zealand. It's the middle of the night, but they watch the replay because they know it's going to be good content and they're going to learn something from it. Okay, so the two are connected, but they are separate. So the other part of your question was, what if they don't like what I'm talking about? Well, then they're not your perfect person. Okay, if I'm over here talking about, mostly what I talk about in my group is I talk about videos, I talk about social media, I talk about Facebook groups. Okay, if somebody wants to learn email, I'm not the email person. So if they somehow get into my group and they're like, oh, I want to learn about email, she's not talking about email, they should go because this is not for them. So what you really got to think about is, what does your perfect ideal client, what do they care about? What do they want help with? And when you can figure that out, that's when you start to put together good content. Okay. We're going to, once we get through this Go Live challenge, next week, Thursday, I'm doing a live on being boring and monotonous in your videos. And then after that, we're going to get into a little more, we're going to talk a little bit about content pillars and social media. And I think if you just I would say keep joining me on Thursdays and you're going to see how this kind of all comes together. But what I usually say to my clients is this. It should almost hurt a little bit that you're giving away this tip. Like, you should almost look at this tip and say, I can't believe I'm going to share this for free. If you can feel that way, you're on the right track. You're giving value that somebody can use. It does not have to be your whole program. It does not have to be your whole offer. It does not have to be everything. It's this little sliver. Okay? One of the things we talk about, you're all going to think that I must have like a food issue, which kind of I do. It's like this, okay? If this is a pizza pie, okay? And this is your whole program. This is everything that you teach in your programs. Okay? What you're giving away in your lives is I'm giving you a slice. I'm not giving you the whole thing. I'm giving you a slice of that, a teeny tiny bit. Because that teeny tiny bit makes you have some sort of win and makes you go, oh my gosh, that's so good. And it makes you want the rest of the pizza. Okay? So don't hold back. Most of the time, people they pay you not for that little slice. They pay you for more information, more access. They pay you to help them apply it. They pay you to help organize it. They pay you to help customize it. But the information is everywhere anymore. So don't hold back on your content. Okay. Hopefully that helps. Let me know if it doesn't. Okay, Sarah says, back to that website photos. This is the same thing. Okay, just because a photo is on the internet, just because you can Google it and find a photo, does not mean that you can use it. You have to pay for licensing for those photos. Otherwise, you are violating copyrights. I know it gets all trippy, but Sarah's example is that she had a friend that got into trouble because she was using photos that she hadn't paid for. Yep. That's why you take your own photos. That's what I would say. Take your own photos, have your own photos professionally taken, use those photos. If you need stock photos, pay for them. Don't just go find them on Google. You're exactly right, Sarah. You're exactly right. Okay. Sharon says, once you get consistent and feel comfortable, does using Facebook's event feature help drive traffic to the live? Yep. Okay. All of you, well, I shouldn't say that because some of you may have just landed. This video could have just landed there, but I scheduled an event in my Facebook group. And if you go to that event, it just connects it and now you've got the live. So it makes it much easier for people to find you. It's also a way to promote why they should watch that live. Why I should show up at this time. Because usually when you set up an event, you've got some description in there about what they're going to learn. Absolutely, it helps. Yep. Okay. It also helps for people wanting the replay. So if you schedule an event and somebody can't make it live, it's very easy for them to go to that event and find that video. It's almost like a key, like a connection point. Okay. Anybody else with questions? What time is it? Have I missed? I don't think I've missed any questions. I'm through my list, so I think I'm good. You guys asked about tangents, so let me take the last 5 minutes and I'll just tell you this little road trip story, okay? So what I want you to imagine is that you are on a road trip, okay? So I want you to visualize it's a minivan and you got grandmas, uncles, aunts, kids, dogs, everybody's in the van, okay? And you are driving on this road trip. You're on the highway, interstate, motorway, speedway, whatever it is that they call it in your country, okay? And somebody in the back says, I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta go to the bathroom. Okay, so what do you gotta do? You are looking for exit signs that are gonna get you to a space where you can get off and go to the bathroom or get a snack or whatever it is, right? And you are hoping, that you're gonna take that exit ramp, and right at the bottom of that exit ramp, right there is a glorious convenience store, metro, gas station, whatever you call it in your country, right? So that you can get off, take care of business, and get right back on. What you don't want to have happen is that you get off on that exit ramp and at the bottom is the sign and it says gas station, convenience store, whatever it is, 20 miles that way. And you go, no, we're not going 20 miles out of our way. We're trying to get to grandma's house. When you go on too many tangents, it's the equivalent of that. Your audience is in your minivan. They're on this journey with you to go to this destination. And if you go off on a tangent and you go 20 miles that direction, they're going, oh, for the love of, like, I wanted this, I didn't want that. Okay? So what you've got to do in your mind, as you're taking that exit ramp, as your brain says, ooh, go talk about this, is you have to interrupt that thought and you have to say, okay, wait a minute. Is this going to be the gas station that's at the end, or is this going to be 20 miles out of my way? You can do it inside voice, inside head voice. Sometimes I say it out loud. You'll hear me say, okay, is this going to be a tangent? Do I want to go on this tangent? Yes, I do. And so in my mind, I think I got to be short and sweet. I got to go there, take care of business, get right back on, because the people want this. That tangent is just a little extra thing. Okay. The other way that this works is, I want you to think about this. We're driving along, full of family, right? We stop, people get snacks, go to the bathroom, everybody's done stuff, we're back in the car, we get back on the interstate, we're ready to go, and you get like 5 miles down the road and somebody goes, I gotta go to the bathroom. And you're like, we just stopped. What? So it's the equivalent of, we're going on this destination, and every exit, you're going off on a tangent. Maybe they're short and sweet, but if you're doing it too much, how long is it going to take you to get to that destination? Forever. Your audience doesn't want that, okay? So what can you do? Other than saying, do I want to go here or not? Can I do this short and sweet or not? What you can do is grab a notepad and say, hang on. We are not going to go here right now because this is going to take us way off track. So let me write down this, and I will do a live tomorrow, and I'll talk about that. Or I'll do this next week. Next week, we're going to do this topic, and I will literally write the note while I'm live and be like, okay, I got it. Don't worry. I'm going to get there. Just like I did just now with you all, right? Earlier, you all wanted the video on tangents. You wanted the whole story. And I said, okay, we don't have time because I don't know what other questions are going to come up. So I'll table it. If we have time today, I'll come back to it. If not, I'll send you a separate video, or I'll go live tomorrow. I'll do it some other time. See how that works? Okay. On this story, I want to talk about one last thing here on this. Do you see the power of this story right here? This story about a road trip. For those of you that struggle with rambling, tangents, etc., you are going to lock in on this story and you're going to remember it forever. Every time you start going off track, you're going to be like, oh yeah. Jamie said the road trip and the exits. The story becomes an anchor. It helps you remember the lesson that I'm trying to teach you and help you understand and get. Okay? But the story itself is not that big of a story. It's about a road trip. It's about getting off on exit ramps. It's not. They're not going to make a Netflix show about this story. But the story really does an excellent job of illustrating a point. It's no different than my pizza pie story. This was a story. It was an exercise, but there was also a story about it. That's the power of simple stories. That's all we're talking about here. Okay? Awesome. Okay, let's see what else we got for questions. Lauren says, thank you for all of this information. You are very welcome. You're very welcome. Okay. I don't see any other questions, so I'm going to wrap us up today. Here's the thing I want you to understand. Other than your homework, do not forget about your homework. Tomorrow, I will do this very same thing again. So as you go down this path of working in the workbook and figuring out these parts and pieces, tomorrow we're going to talk about hooks and how do you grab that attention from the very beginning. But if you have questions on anything, you bring them to this call, okay? And I will stay on just like I did today for extra time and answer whatever you got. You'll see. I didn't skip any, right? There was not a question asked that I didn't cover. Okay. This was great. I'm glad I signed up for VIP. Oh, that's a really great call out. Those of you that are in VIP, you got access to me in Messenger. Message me if you need help. Message me if you want me to look at something. Message me if you want to say, okay, here's the story I'm thinking about. What do you think? That's what I'm here for. Sorry, I was putting my markers away. That was really loud. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys. Bye.